Books, books. I like books. I'm gonna read them all. Hi readers, Chris here. Welcome to my channel where I review fantasy, Stephen King, all sorts of books, and today I'm going to be talking about Revelle by Lyssa Mia Smith. This book came in one of my OwlCrate book boxes a few months ago, and this book, as soon as I heard about it, I thought it sounded absolutely amazing. And for the most part, I had a pretty good time reading it, except for one thing. As per usual, I'm going to talk about world building, characters, and plot, but here is a very quick setup of this story. Alright, quick setup of Revelle. We have our main character, a young girl named Revelle, and she comes from a family of magical circus people, basically. Everyone in her family has a different magical power. They live on this island. It's 1920s New York. It's Prohibition era. Her family, though, is running out of booze, which means their circus is not as profitable as it could be. But Lux decides, hey, one of the other wealthy families on the island, they have the booze that we need, so Lux is going to use her powers to shimmy up to this guy who may or may not be the most benevolent person so that she can get the booze for her family. On the other side, we have a male character named Jameson, and Jameson is new to the island, but of course, as soon as he lays eyes on Lux, he's like, oh my god, I'm in love with her, but Lux is trying to be in a relationship with someone else, like I said, for the booze. So poor Jameson is left heartbroken, he's got secrets of his own, and shenanigans ensue. That is a super quick setup, and basically the setup of this book is Moulin Rouge. So let's jump in and talk about the world building of Revelle. First of all, I love the setting of this book. I love that it's 1920s New York. I love that it's Prohibition era. I love all that stuff. The flappers and the speakeasy and all those things that you think of when you hear like 1920s New York, that is all in here. Now, where this book takes place is a fictional island, and it's called Charmant. Charmant is off the coast of New York, off the coast of Manhattan. So it does make a lot of references to like real New York, real Manhattan. But on the island that this takes place, there's basically like two different districts. There's the Night District, which is where Lux's family is from. That's where the circus is and all the kind of things. When you think Night District, it's where all the booze is, it's where all the girls are, it's where all the fun happens. And then on the other side of the island is the Day District. And the Day District is more where the more wealthy people are, the families, etc., etc., etc. So I think the whole setup of this island, the setting, the time period, the Prohibition era, all that stuff I think is really, really fun. And then, of course, there is the magic. Everyone in this book has a different type of magic, depending on what family you are from. So the Revelles, Lux's family, they get their magic from jewels. That's right. If you hand a Revelle a jewel, they can basically manipulate your emotions. So, of course, like I mentioned, Lux is trying to get a different person, get this gentleman to give her the booze. So she's trying to basically trick him into giving her a jewel so that she can manipulate him, make him fall in love with her, make him hand over all his booze to her family, etc., etc., etc. That's just one type of magic. Now, the guy that she's trying to sweet talk, the guy she's trying to manipulate, his name is Dewey Kronos, and the Kronos family, they're time travelers. Yes, a whole family of time travelers. I'll talk about them a little bit later, but that's just another example of a different type of magic. There's also families that use healing magic. There's also families that do fortune telling and predictive magic. But all the magic in this book, I feel like, is unique in a way, because it's not just like they have time travel magic. Like the actual mechanics of it, the way that they explain it in the book, is different than what I've heard before. And even the Revels and their jewel magic, like, that's not something I've heard before. Magic always has a price in this world. Magic always has a cost, depending on what it is. So, for example, the time travelers, depending on how far back you travel, you will age yourself, basically. The Revels, when they use their jewel magic, it takes a price from them. It takes something from them. So magic is not free. There's always a price. When you heal someone, like, someone else has to take on the injury. I love all the mechanics of the different magics in this world. I think it's super interesting and makes for a super fun read. So now let's talk about our characters, starting with our main two characters. So first we have Lux. And I really liked Lux as a character. First of all, not only does she have this power, you know, if someone gives her a jewel, she can manipulate them, but she also has a power that's different than the rest of her family. I won't go into it too much without giving away spoilers, but let's just say that she does have the ability to manipulate people's emotions without the use of a jewel, which is not something the rest of her family can do, and it's not something that anyone knows that she can do. It's something that she keeps very much to herself. And that's the thing about Lux. She keeps a lot of things to herself. She keeps a lot of things inside her. But everything that she does, every decision that she makes, every action that she takes is for someone else. It's for her family. But because of that, she does have this persona, and when people meet her, they think that she is cold and unemotional, and they think that she's all these things, but really on the inside, she's like fighting so hard for her family, it's just no one really knows. I think that makes her really relatable. On one hand, because of the mask that she wears. I feel like we've all had those times where we keep a part of ourselves hidden. We don't want to show people who we really are. I think that's one thing. And then on the other hand, you know, making decisions for people that you love and you care about and not putting yourself first, not worrying about your own happiness. Again, that's something that Lux struggles with a lot. There were even parts of the book where I wanted to like yell at her, like, come on, like at some point you have to put yourself first, but Lux very much struggles with this. But lucky for her, she does meet someone who does see her as she really is, and that is Jameson. So half of this book is told from Jameson's point of view. Every other character is from Lux's point of view, and then every other chapter is from Jameson's point of view. So we get this interesting back and forth. We have, you know, like I said, the one character, the girl, the flashy but cold circus actress trying to save her family. And then we have the other guy who, he's new to the island. He's just gotten there. He's there because he's looking for his family. He's an orphan. He found something that suggests that maybe he's from Charmant, but he doesn't know how or why. And he shows up there. He ends up crossing paths with Lux, like right in the beginning in the first chapter, during one of her performances. And of course, he falls madly in love with her, like I said. There's a lot more to Jameson, a lot more to Jameson's story, but let's just say, for the most part, he is there as a romantic interest for Lux. Now, sometimes romance in YA stories can annoy me because it can be generic. It can feel like it's just in there because it's a YA fantasy and it needs it. But I didn't mind it in this story. I didn't mind it. And I think that's because I'm such a big fan of Moulin Rouge, and I am a sucker for a tragic love story. It is tragic because Jameson is just so in love with her, and he's the only person that really sees her, that really sees underneath this facade that she has. But like I said, she is determined to not care about her own happiness. She's determined to put her family first instead of herself. And that brings me to the last character that I want to talk about, which is Dewey Kronos, our time traveler. So like I mentioned, the Kronoses are like, they are the wealthiest family on the island. They control all the liquor distribution, like they have it all. So it really doesn't matter, you know, how Dewey is. Like, Lux knows that she needs him, and honestly, Dewey knows that she needs him. So in the beginning of the book, when Lux first meets Dewey, she's willing to use whatever she has at her disposal to try and manipulate him. So that includes, you know, trying to get him to fall in love with her, trying to get him to be obsessed with her, and, you know, her intentions aren't exactly benevolent, and I actually did feel a bit bad for Dewey in the beginning, because he seemed like a genuinely nice guy, and it seemed like Lux was taking advantage of him. But as the story unfolds, you start to learn things about Dewey, and not everything is as it seems. That's all I'm going to say there, because, again, I don't want to go into spoilers, but if you have seen Moulin Rouge, and you know that Nicole Kidman's character, Satine, you know, she's trying to woo this Duke guy. That's basically Dewey's character in this book. If you know, you know. So now let me talk about the plot really quick. The plot of this book, for the most part, was fantastic. It's very fast-paced, it's full of magic, it's full of whimsy, it's full of twists and turns, like, especially when it comes to Jameson's character. Like, there are so many secrets that are revealed, and I think the book does a really good job with pacing, where the secrets are revealed like a little bit at a time, and they build and they build and they build until there's this like big grand climax at the end, and made for a really fun reading experience. It made for a really fun experience. The only thing that I will say, and it's not really a complaint, this is really just a personal preference, but I feel like the ending of the book did not end quite in the way that I wanted it to. Because this book, the plot, the characters, the setup is so much like Moulin Rouge, I was really expecting a tragic ending, a tragedy, a tragic love story. And there are tragic things that happen 100% for sure, but this book has a much more hopeful ending, And I kind of feel like that was the easy way out, because most YA fantasy end in a pretty hopeful manner. They end in a pretty good way. I would have expected this book more if it stuck with that tragic ending. If it stuck with that, I feel like that would have been a much more emotional ending, and I would have respected the book for doing it, but it did not. I feel like it took the easy way out, the hopeful way out, and it wasn't what I wanted. But again, other than that though, I had a fantastic time reading this book. Like I said, I love the setting, I love the world building, I love the magic, I loved all the characters, and I love the plot, even though it didn't quite have the ending that I personally wanted to see. So that is my review for Revelle. So now I want to know from you, have you read Revelle? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Have you seen Moulin Rouge, the movie? What'd you think about that? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments section below. And if you made it all the way to the end, you got a Meepers. Oh, thank you, Meepers. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not already, please subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. And I'll be back soon with more bookish stuff. All right, everyone. Happy reading.